guys and gals, and here from Drakewing Gaming and Sylvie Mounts Wood of the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you on a Let's Play episode of Devil's Gambit. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go! But why? He can't return there in his condition. Yeah, so I started thinking where to send him. Cadgan's home was an obvious choice, but with how busy he usually is, he wouldn't be able to keep an eye on Eirnin. It'd be functionally identical to just sending him back to the forest. Then there's Teresa, but she's already busy raising her newborn, but I'd rather not overburden her. That left only one option. Do you know Fenbar the blacksmith? He's been staying at home since he got injured in the valley. I asked him, and he does have a spare bed for Eirnin. He's like an uncle to me. We can trust him. Not that Fenbar or anybody in his family knows medicine, but I can stop by to handle that. I just need somebody watching over Eirnin while I'm away. I'd be very grateful if you could arrange that. Yes, leave it to me. Tomorrow I'll tell the head doctor. By the way, how are you holding up? Me? I'm alright, all things considered. Sorry, y'all. I don't know how you managed to keep your cool through all this. After a moment, he takes a sip from his drink and smiles slightly. Dealing with situations like this is my job, that's all. As I'm approaching the Baron, and the hospital comes into view, so does a carriage, halted right in front of it. One of those tall lion guards is carrying a crate from it into the building. I'm curious about what he's doing, but quickly that feeling is overridden by panic. Oh! Eirnin, I hope the guards aren't coming into the main ward. I can't imagine the old wolf would react well to seeing him there. Much to my relief, upon reaching the reception, I see the lions have been dropping the boxes right there. He's currently talking to the head doctor, his hand on a pile of 3 crates. This is all. His Grace sincerely wishes it will be useful to you. Thank you. We will take care of it from here. With a bow, the guard excuses himself and goes outside. Not long after, I hear the beasts outside grunting and the carriage's wheels screeching as they begin to turn. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Hector. Even as I greet him, the old lion's wary gaze is settled on the pile of crates. I tilt my head at it too, curious. Did His Grace consider it appropriate to send us more supplies, or equipment, perhaps? You could say that. This is his father's lab equipment. I wasn't aware he'd send us this until the carriage arrived earlier today. Although, much like me, Dad used to travel with his own tools, the Duke's mansion was much better equipped for research. Many afternoons he spent cooped up in Leopoldno's laboratory as he tried to find an explanation for Cadgan's condition. A child like me wasn't allowed there, naturally. Oh, I'm sure it'll be of use. The head doctor's smile betrays some apprehension. This isn't a research facility, and Leopoldno's scientific interests went beyond medicine. We'll have to go through this to see what is actually of use to us. It may not have borne fruit, but Dad worked hard to understand Cadgan's condition back then. Even now, I haven't stopped thinking about it myself. Oh, God. That's so good, y'all. Hold on, let me pour some more of that in there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah. Okay. Manoel says it was a sleeping disorder, and that the anomalous prismillium readings were likely caused by something else. But what exactly? No matter how many details I recall, nothing comes to mind that could explain it. All I know is that it wasn't Dad doing something wrong, and I don't say it merely because I'm his son. When we first arrived at the mansion, Dad had a private audience with Leopoldno. When he examined Cadgan later that day, he said the Duke was correct about what Cadgan's prismillium readings would look like. Leopoldno did have some interest in medicine, but as the head doctor said, he was no doctor. Hell, I'm not even sure if he was a researcher. All I've heard is that he used to hire people to do that part for him. So if he knew that much about Cadgan before Dad arrived, then somebody else must have examined him beforehand. Prismillium readings after Cadgan fainted shocked Dad, yes, but that is the sort of phenomenon one doesn't fully grasp until laying his eyes on it. Being a proper doctor now, I figure he suspected Leopoldno was exaggerating, or like Manoel, that somebody committed a mistake during previous examinations. That'd have been my first guess. And I just can't imagine Dad was Leopoldno's first choice. My younger self couldn't put it into words, but it always seemed strange the Duke would hire us. Leopoldno learned about Dad from one of his wealthy clients, putting in a good word for him. But why would the Duke rely on a doctor from some badger town rather than on his lion friends? But if he did hire his friends at first and only turned to Dad once they failed, then it makes sense. Then there's what Cadgan said when we first met. We were in that desolate corridor in the mansion. He opened his arms, inviting me to observe our surroundings, and proclaimed demons had scared away the people living there. And now that I'm recalling it again, I can't help but think there was a sinister meaning behind those words. It's not that Ranskai was involved. He would have mentioned demons to spook me regardless, but maybe there were more people in the mansion and something did happen to make them go away. And those could have been the doctors who studied him before Dad. Damn it, the old Cadgan would be so satisfied if he knew this prank was causing me a headache so many years later. In any case, I'm certain other people studied him with similar results. I'm not convinced by Manol's explanation as long as the Prismillium readings remain a mystery. While it's too late to find the answer for Dad, Cadgan's still around, and he's not as stoic as he looks. It'd be no wonder if he questions about his condition still haunted him. I wish I could take that weight off his shoulders. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to. The truth behind the cyclical lethargy has evaded me for so long that I'm not sure it's even within my reach. Whatever is in these crates is unlikely to change that, but maybe it can give me some closure instead. Do you need help unpacking these, sir? I can volunteer. The lion closes his eyes. Paolo can handle it. Don't concern yourself with it. With the expedition restarting, we might need to work at full capacity at any moment now. Don't you think it'd be better to sort all this now? Okay. My, why the interest? I just think it'd be troublesome if all this got in the way. And Paolo has to run the reception. It'd be unfair to leave it all to him. We should split the work. The lion shakes his head. I know I'm being stubborn, but I want this. Very well. I'll allow it, since your job has been nothing short of exemplary so far. I trust you will not neglect your usual duties. Understood? Yes, sir. One more thing, sir. It's about Eirnin, the wolf I brought the other day. Ah, he is ready. Is he ready to head back home? No, but I'll see he's transferred somewhere more appropriate for his continuing recovery. I just need a little more time to finish accommodations. Tomorrow it should be all ready. Very well. I leave it in your hands. After stopping by Eirnin's bed, only to find him sound asleep, I help Paolo move the crates onto one of the unoccupied wards. We pick one each to start digging through it. The first thing that sticks out to me is the smell, musty and slightly humid. It's like this crate has been sealed and left to sit in some dark basement for a long time. I'm not too sure what I'll find. While Leopoldno did conduct some medical research that was far from his main interest, if the Earth Helpers are anything to go by, he cared much more about finding ways to grow more crops. And once I remove the crate's lid, I see my suspicions are confirmed. Empty pots, seeds, and dead plants inside flasks. Cattle anatomical charts. Manol just wanted to get rid of all this, didn't he? I don't see how any of it would be helpful in a hospital. However, as I dig deeper, I find some interesting things. Glass bottles, torches, knives, prismillium crystals, and even brewing equipment. Perhaps the same one Dad used all those years ago. It does show some age. How many days did Dad spend in front of these glass vials, scratching his head as he attempted to understand Cadgan's condition? Perhaps he'd look out the window and see us playing outside as he was in the middle of work. I wonder, what Cadgan was to Dad? Did he see him as a poor child, a patient, or an object of research? I thought I was being slick back then, that he didn't notice me slipping out of our room to spend the night with Cadgan, but maybe he did and simply allowed it. Was he happy I found a friend in him? Or was I getting Cadgan to cooperate all he cared about? Dad was a kind man, I think, but I know there's nothing he would have forsaken for Oblin's sake. Not even me. But are you any better, Hector? Didn't you forget all about Cadgan to jump into that demon's arms just a few weeks ago? It serves you right that the haze leaf appeared there and caught the Inquisition's attention. I may have tried to forget, but I know now that I just can't. It doesn't matter what Ranskai offers me or how I try to justify it. The moment Cadgan gives me the slightest hint of a want, the tiniest ember, everything I put away breaks. Everything I put away breaks out. Knowing Dad, he surely kept all his research written down somewhere. Let's see. As I continue sorting the contents of the crate, a collection of tiny, leather-bound journals catches my eye. The leather is rough to the touch, and the pages are distorted and tainted by time. I open one and see the ink has partially faded in some places, and become smeared in others. Most of it is still readable, however. This seems to be research on crops. It's just notes on some experimental farming methods and magic. Some of it is rather wild. There's a part about burying copper pipes beside the crops and using magic to keep them healthy throughout the winter. Did Leopoldno write this? Did he realize what a powerful wizard you'd need to put this into practice? Or the amount of copper you'd need? This could work for a while, but the constant stream of magic would eventually damage the pipes, and they'd need to be replaced. As I skimmed the book, I noticed the handwriting changing. It seems this was penned by several different authors. Then I suddenly stop at a certain page. On it are the schematics for an Earth Helper, or at least what seems like an early iteration of one. A small stake that uses a modified prismalium crystal as its core. Once it's buried so only the tip is sticking out, the user infuses it with magic to make it perform a predetermined spell. It's difficult to learn to use, but incredibly powerful for such a small artifact, the Apoldo's legacy given form. With a sigh, I close the journal and open the next. I look over my shoulder at Paolo, but he seems too busy with his crate to notice me getting distracted. I knew it. It doesn't take me long to find Dad's writing in one of the journals. The page is a recipe for an elixir, struck out with a large cross. Below is the following note. When I first began monitoring the patient's layers, I jumped to what seemed the most logical conclusion, that the outburst of life force that takes place when the cyclical lethargy renders him unconscious must originate somewhere from reason, the only layer that eludes the prismalium's eye. However, just because reason is invisible, that doesn't mean it never has been studied. We don't understand this relationship with life force, but whenever a patient suffers an illness that can't be explained by an imbalance within the other 4 layers, it follows then the imbalance would be located within reason. But no matter how many cases I study or how many experts I speak with, none of them match what the patient is experiencing. Could it be that our understanding of reason thus far is too incomplete? Or perhaps even flawed? While certainly possible, I believe it'd be worth it to explore some other possibilities first, and that is the purpose of this elixir. He then went on to explain the purpose of each ingredient. The gist of it is that he suspected there might be something else invisible to both the prismalium and the naked eye in Cadgan's body, and this unknown substance would be responsible for causing him to go unconscious. The elixir, once in his bloodstream, would hopefully attach to the substance and allow its detection and hopefully research. Interesting idea, though it seems like a rather big leap in logic. Did he have a reason to suspect this might work, or was he desperately looking for clues? The next few pages are filled with different iterations of the same elixir. Considering all of them have been crossed out, I imagine they didn't work. If I'm right... There we go, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!